Hello. This week, I wanted to talk to you about the Sun-Jupiter sextile taking place on January 24th, followed by the Sun-Mars trine taking place on January 29th. Obviously, this will favor people born under the zodiac signs of Aries, Gemini, and Aquarius. But it will also wind up benefiting people born under the zodiac signs of Leo, Libra, and Sagittarius. People who haven't had an easy time of it lately, astrologically speaking. Let me explain why.
This podcast episode is sponsored by Astrology Hub's Academy. Wherever you are on your astrology journey, we have a class that will help you get to the next level.
My name is Christopher Renstrom, and I'm your weekly horoscope columnist here on Astrology Hub. Everyone pretty much knows that Jupiter is the planet of good fortune and higher purpose. When Jupiter is passing through your zodiac sign, what it does is rain down upon you all of its good fortune. This is a period of time when people can expect to make more money, to be more fortunate in their endeavors, to be more magnetic and attractive in love, and to basically experience this buoying of spirits that might have dwindled or even diminished over the past few months before Jupiter's entrance into your sign. Okay, so when Jupiter is going through your sign, all of a sudden you feel very robust. You feel like good things are happening to you, like the wind is blowing in your direction, and that you're going to make all of this progress. You're suddenly enlivened and very much empowered. And this is why everyone celebrates Jupiter traveling through their own zodiac sign. Now, there are 12 signs of the zodiac, and Jupiter takes 12 years to make one full circle around all 12 signs. It spends 1 year in a sign. So some of us have to wait a little while for Jupiter to come back to our sign and to rain that good fortune upon us again. So right now, Jupiter is in the zodiac sign of Aries, which means that Aries is the one that is feeling most emboldened and most empowered and most blessed by Jupiter's blessings. It's kind of like Aries is feeling like it's the winner of the beauty contest. You know, it's marched up and down the runway, it's partaken in swimming suit and singing and maybe playing a musical instrument and answering challenging questions about geopolitics, the geopolitical situation, and it has emerged triumphant. All of a sudden, it's like, Aries, you're the winner of the beauty contest. And all the sparkles fall and the roses are thrown onto the stage and Aries takes a triumphant lap and it's like, is it me? Is it me? And all the runner-ups are like, oh, we're so happy for you. Not really, but we're so happy for you. Huzzah, huzzah. But anyway, this is what happens when Jupiter is traveling through your own particular sign. You are favored and you are blessed. But as I just mentioned, it doesn't just favor Aries only, okay? It also has a tendency to favor the runners-up, which means that if you happen to be born under a fire sign, Aries is a fire sign, you will also receive a benefit of Jupiter moving through the zodiac sign of Aries. So this would be good news for people born under Leo and Sagittarius as well. This period of time that Jupiter is in Aries, that's a good thing, okay? And then it would also favor people who might not have been as close. They might not have been the second or third runner-up. They might have been, number 4 and number 5. And those signs would be Gemini and Aquarius. Why? Because Gemini and Aquarius are the two air signs that sextile the zodiac sign of Aries. So they might not be number 2 or number 3, but they'll still get some sort of warmth of applause and sort of a bump in terms of favor and fortune. The people who don't really benefit are those who aren't really making a powerful aspect to Aries, okay? And so that might be like Virgo and Scorpio and maybe even Taurus. They're the contestants that probably got let go early on in the competition and they've already left the building and packed up their makeup and packed up their things and they're out there, having a cigarette, waiting for the ride to show up while inside everyone is celebrating Aries. But anyway, this is pretty much the way that we understand how Jupiter, the planet of good fortune, works by transit in an astrological chart. So you can think of that transit, as benefiting people born under the sign and under a similar element. But it doesn't always work exactly that way. And that's why I wanted to talk to you about that this week, because this week it's going to work a little bit more differently. Now, Jupiter was in the zodiac sign of Aries from May 10th to October 27th of last year. Okay, and this was a time in which Aries would have benefited, just like I described to you. But during this period of time, from May 10th to October 27th of last year, Jupiter was opposite. It was opposite the zodiac sign of Libra. And during that period of time, Libra had a bit of a rough go. Why? When a planet by transit means a planet in motion, okay? This is not the same thing as a planet being opposite you in your birth chart or your natal chart. That's a fixed screenshot of the sky at the time that you were born. And so it's a fixed screenshot of the planets at the time that you were born, and it says this is how your life is basically sort of like set up. But it's the way that your life is set up in terms of being like a sailing vessel, okay? The horoscope responds to energies that are coming through or coursing through the horoscope, just like a sailing vessel would respond to the weather. Okay, on the good days where there's a good wind, you're moving along at a clipped pace. And on days in which there is no wind, you're at a dead standstill in the middle of the ocean. Well, that's kind of what Libra was experiencing during that period of time when Jupiter was in its opposite sign of Aries. For a planet to be opposite your own natal sign, your own sun sign, for a planet to be opposite your own sun sign, planet like Jupiter to be opposite your own sun sign by transit, okay, means that planetary energy is as far away from you as it could possibly be, okay? The difference would be like, imagine being on a desert island and, you're like, help, help, help. And there's a boat that happens to be coming around the cove and it sees you and it's like, oh, yay, oh, we're here and we're here to rescue you. And you're like, yay, you saw me. That's wonderful. That's great. Help me. And I'm saved. I'm rescued. Okay. So that's a good thing. Okay. But if a planet is opposite you, it's as far away from you as it can be in the sky. It would be like trying to wave help, help to a little ship that you see on the horizon going by. You don't have signal flares. You don't have a flame or a fire. You're just waving and calling out desperately as that planet just goes right on by the horizon and disappears. Okay. So oppositions talk about proximity. You want a planet like Jupiter to be close to you. You don't want it to be far away from you, because when it's far away from you, it's like at the sun at sunset. Okay. You don't go to the beach ready to sunbathe and have a tan at sunset. Okay. Nothing's going to happen. It's already getting chill and the light is gone. So this is the difference between a planet being close to you and a planet being far from you by opposition. It doesn't mean you ill will. It's not going to do you any sort of harm. It's just not close to you. And so it's not available as a planetary energy. Okay. And so in the case of Libra, during that period of time that I was talking about, May to October of last year, not only were the benefits not really coming in for Libra, but Jupiter, in fact, might have been benefiting others, everyone else but Libra. And in particular, it might have benefited people who were in an oppositional stance to Libra. Okay, and that might have been the experience during that period of time in that part of 2022. Now, Mars, which is a rigorous planet, it's a vigorous planet. Mars goes after what it wants. If you say, I want that, Mars is like on it, so Mars is the muscle in the horoscope and it goes after what it wants. Mars entered the zodiac sign of Gemini on August 21st, 2022. Okay. And so that would have given Gemini's gumption and drive. And, it's kind of like a bit of a shot of adrenaline, in their lives. As they went on the attack and went after things, they might have felt very focused and very purpose-driven. and full of gumption and drive and vim and vigor. Okay. But at that period of time, late August of 2022, Mars began its opposition to the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. Okay, so with Mars in opposition to Sagittarius, not only would Sagittarius have experienced a drop in energy levels because all the vim and vigor is going to their opposite sign of the zodiac and not coming to them. Okay, so not only would Sagittarius have experienced a drop in this, it would have been also very difficult for Sagittarians to accomplish or achieve their aims because Mars, the planet of gumption and drive, was as far away from them as it could possibly be. And like Jupiter, with that description that I gave of the opposition, it may have been benefiting people in the opposite camp rather than people born under the zodiac sign of Sagittarius. Now, on October 30th, Mars turned retrograde at 25 Libra, turning a 7-week stay. Usually Mars is just 7 weeks in a zodiac sign. It turned a 7-week stay into a 7-month one. Okay, so this question of willpower and drive, direction, and focus for Gemini, instead of just being a 7-week thing, is a 7-month one because of the retrograde. And for Sagittarius, this feeling of not being on top of things or not being at its best goes from, 7 weeks, I can sort of like stomach 7 weeks, or I can get through 7 weeks, or somehow I'll make it work 7 weeks. 7 months! 7 months! That's a long time to not be at top of my game. And so this might have been something that Sagittarians began experiencing. Now, Mars retrograde, and remember it turns retrograde at the end of October, would have been challenging for anyone born under Gemini. We've discussed that in recent episodes. And so it would have been difficult for them, but it would have been especially challenging for Sagittarius because it's like having the last bite to eat, before dinner. Like imagine being at a restaurant and you've had the last, dinner roll and your dinner's taking forever and you're sort of chomping away at that and you're really, really hungry. And then there's going to be even more of a delay. They're going to take even longer to bring your meal to the table. And you're like now getting really anxious and grouchy and ill-tempered. Okay, so that sort of happens. Now, on January 12th, Mars came out of retrograde, which would have been a reprieve for Geminis. Instead of feeling that backsliding or that regression, they might have felt back on track and a bump in that energy again. But what's interesting about this, and this ties into this week's arrangement, so did Sagittarius. Sagittarius also would have started to feel a bump or pickup in energy. Why? Let's talk about this week. This week, as I said, we're experiencing the Sun-Jupiter sextile on January 24th, followed by the Sun-Mars trine on January 29th. The Sun in Aquarius will be sextiling Jupiter in Aries, okay? And then the Sun in Aquarius will be trining Mars in Gemini. Okay, so that's pretty much the pattern that we're describing here. This particular arrangement of sextiles sets up what I would call a ricochet effect. A ricochet effect wherein it breaks up the oppositional energies and redirects the planetary energies to benefit signs that weren't experiencing it. Let me explain it. And it all works with rulership. Let's say you're a Leo. Your ruling planet is the sun. Now, this is the way that I work. Not all astrologers work this way. So I'm copping to it and I'm owning it. But the way that I work with the ruling planet is simply the planet that rules your sun sign. Okay, that's it. So a ruling planet is like your patron saint, your corporate sponsor, your den mother, and your life coach all wrapped up into one, okay? And in the case of Leo, its own ruling planet, the sun, which is kind of a statement because, as we know, the sun is not really a planet, it's a star. So this is why Leos always feel like the star, okay? Because their ruling planet isn't a planet at all. It's actually a star, and isn't that fabulous? Now, the sun, okay, in Leo is most powerful when it's in the zodiac sign of Leo. It's most powerful, most comfortable in the heart of the summer. When the sun is traveling through Aquarius, remember we were talking about oppositions? the sun in Aquarius is as far away from the heart of summer as it can be. When the sun is in Aquarius, that's the time of year when it's the heart of winter. So it's as far away from the Aquarius is as far away from summer or Leo as it can possibly be. So this is why Leos typically feel a breakdown or downward spiral in energy during the winter months, because the sun by transit is as far away from their time of year as it can possibly be. However, the sun will be sextiling Jupiter on January 23rd, and then it trines Mars in Gemini on the 29th. The trine to Jupiter is powerful for Leo because it takes place in the astrological sign of Aries, and Aries is a fire sign just like Leo. And its sextile to Mars in Gemini is also powerful because Gemini happens to sextile the zodiac sign of Leo. So basically, this opposite time of year where there would be a sinking of energies all of a sudden perks up because there's this kind of ricochet effect that's taking place, which brings the light back to Leos. Okay, so instead of looking at a sun that's kind of sinking over the horizon, the sun, which is sinking over the horizon, ricochets off of Aries and Gemini to bring this surge of energy into Leo. And this is wonderful because this is marking for Leos that this particular week is auspicious for you. Not only will you all of a sudden feel a bump in your confidence and your drive, but you'll also feel a bump in your recognition. All of a sudden people are like, oh, you, or maybe you should be the one, or let's have you come on up, or I want to talk to her. She's the only one who gets me and I want to talk to her. All of a sudden you get this kind of like gleaming halo as a result of this ricochet where people all of a sudden take notice of you. And this is a good thing. This is a good thing when the sun is traveling through Aquarius, which is the sign that is as far away from you as it can possibly be. The other sign that gets to benefit by this ricochet energy is Libra. Libra, which has been having a very hard time of it with Jupiter traveling through its opposite sign of Aries, waving to the ship on the horizon that still hasn't noticed it. Well, on December 20th, Jupiter did re-enter the zodiac sign of Aries, rebooting that oppositional energy that Libra's been experiencing throughout much of 2022. However, the sun is in Aquarius, where it is right now. Aquarius is an air sign. Aquarius is an air sign just like Libra. So the sun in Aquarius breaks up that Jupiter opposition. Okay, so where that opposition, it's as far as where the sun all of a sudden is in Aquarius. It's trining the Libra. It breaks up that oppositional energy. And moreover, when the sun trines Mars, which is in Gemini, on January 29th, that will also trine Libran energy. So this is the period of time when, Libras might have felt forsaken on the shore, and like nobody's ever going to notice them, and they're just going to have to, talk to the volleyball. Wasn't that Castaway or something like that? As their only companion. Well, that's the period of time where all of a sudden a ship does show up, and the Libra castaway is like, oh my goodness, I'm saved. How did you ever know? And they're like, because you wrote a message. You wrote a message in a bottle. Yes, I did. Yes, I did write a message in a bottle, and I flung it into the ocean, but I didn't think anyone was going to get it. We got it. We received your message in a bottle. We received your message in a bottle because the sun happens to be in Aquarius, which trines Libra, and Mars is in Gemini, which is trining the sun, and air is all about communication. And we received your communication, and now we're here to rescue you. And I hope you're hungry because we have lots of things on board for you to eat. And the Libra is like, oh, I'm famished. Thank goodness you rescued me. There is a God. There is a God in this universe. All right. So this is what Libra will be experiencing this week. Okay. Something that's very benevolent, where before you felt rather hopeless and the odds were against you. Now there's benevolence, and the universe is suddenly a gentler, kinder, and friendlier place. So, what about Sagittarius? Remember that Mars has been in Gemini this entire time, and it's been opposite Sagittarius. So Sagittarius has been having a very difficult time completing forward passes or making any sort of headway down the field, or getting to where it wants to go, or accomplishing anything. It's been feeling like everything has been against it. Not fighting against it, but just not cooperative. Okay, the wind has not been filling your sails. Well, what happened is that when Jupiter re-entered the zodiac sign of Aries at the end of December, it began to sort of like bring the energy levels up again. Why? Because Jupiter is in Aries. Aries is a fire sign, just like Sagittarius, and it begins to bring up the energy again. But there's something else that's going on that's even better than that. Jupiter, remember when I talked about the sun being the ruling planet of Leo? Jupiter is the ruling planet of Sagittarius. And so Jupiter is in a zodiac sign, Aries, which is a fire sign like Sagittarius. And so all of a sudden there's this sense of newness, of freshness, of heading in a new, fresh, and different direction than what has come before. And so this began to increase on December 20th. Now, this grows stronger as Mars comes out of retrograde. When Mars came out of retrograde on January 12th, this feeling of optimism, this feeling of actually moving forward grows stronger when Mars came out of retrograde on January 12th. It grew stronger because Mars is no longer backwards, it's forward moving, so this is a good thing. But one might say, but it's still in Gemini, it's still opposing Sagittarius. But remember that ricochet effect that I was talking about? Remember that ricochet effect that I invoked earlier. What happens here is that the Jupiter in Aries trines the sun in Sagittarius, and so it breaks up what would have just typically been an opposition between the Mars and Sagittarius. Okay, the sun in Sagittarius, if your sun is in Sagittarius. So it breaks that up. Moreover, Mars, remember rulerships. Rulerships are very important things. Mars rules the Jupiter in Aries. So it brings the energy of the Jupiter in Aries down into the Mars in Sagittarius and moves that forward. Now, again, it might be like, well, isn't that still oppositional? It isn't if the trine energy is coming from the sun in Sagittarius into the Jupiter. Okay, so that the Mars is not only moving away from that opposition, but there's a feeling that suddenly the other side understands what you're trying to get to. Okay, it's going from maybe trying to speak to someone in a foreign language and they're just not getting what you're talking about, and you're not getting what they're talking about, and it's very frustrating or whatever. But all of a sudden you discover a couple of words that you do understand, or that you can sort of guess at, and then all of a sudden the lines of communication are open again. Okay. And so that's what happens with this type of a changing of the energy. And so the sextile breaks up the opposition, but it does even more than that as well. Jupiter and Mars, remember Jupiter is in Aries and Mars is in Gemini. Jupiter and Mars will be in zodiac signs that sextile each other from December 20th to March 25th. Now, some astrologers might say, and I would actually be one of them, okay, they're in signs that sextile, but the planets themselves don't really stay in that sextile more than maybe a few days. So, Christopher, why are you talking about this December 20th to March 25th? Why are you carving out this block of time as being auspicious? The reason I'm carving out this block of time as being auspicious is based on rulership again, coming back to what I spoke about earlier. Mars is the ruler of Aries, okay? So it's basically picked up the Jupiter energy and it's moved forward. So even if Mars is moving out of range of the Jupiter is still in Aries and it's still generating that forward progression of the planet Mars. It's still giving it benevolence. It's still lighting its way. It's still lighting its path, no matter how far it gets. And so that's an energy that if you are born under the signs of Aquarius and Aries and Gemini, this is an energy that's going to benefit you all the way until March 25th, and then it stops on March 25th. And the reason it stops on March 25th is that Mars will leave the zodiac sign of Gemini, and then it will go into Cancer, and it will no longer be in a sextile. It will begin a square. And so that's kind of like, last call and lights on and everyone leave, bye, so that's going to be what happens at that period of time. But for those of you who have your rising signs in Aquarius, Aries, and Gemini, for those of you who have your sun in Aquarius, Aries, and Gemini, even your moon, okay, this is going to benefit you. For those of you who happen to have Mars, Sun sextiles involving Aquarius and Aries or Aries and Gemini, this is going to be tremendously beneficial for you, okay? And this will move you forward. So this week is absolutely wonderful for pushing forward on an endeavor, for accomplishing a task, for getting something up and going and meeting with support. That's absolutely what will be happening for this week. But for those of you born under, as I said, Aquarius, Aries, and Gemini, this effect is going to go on a bit longer. And for those of you who have been feeling the oppositional energy, particularly Libra and Sagittarius, the effect will become easier to deal with during that period of time. I mean, actually, it's going to fade, but you might get a sort of like bump when the sun goes into Aries. So that might be as well. So again, this is good news for Aries and Gemini. And as I said, it was also good news for Libra and Sagittarius. The effect might not be as powerful, but it will still be working for you rather than against.
After what's been going on for the past few years, you need to start making some wise financial decisions. If you're feeling lost and don't know where to start, we got some quick tips from an expert for you. Let's hear what financial astrologer Mitchell Scott Lewis has to say.
I think that astrology is a good tool to have at any time. A lot of people want to know, what can I do to improve my financial world? What can I do to improve my retirement fund? Believe me, I made money. I knew nothing about Wall Street, commodities, or anything else. And because of astrology, my very first trade found the top of the cotton market. And I made thousands of dollars within 2 weeks of going on the floor. 2023 was a particularly volatile year with 3 of the major planets changing signs. What I hope people get out of this webinar is some useful tools. By the end of the series, I would like people to have a good indication of how astrology works in the financial markets, a usable concept about how they can go about making trades and investments for themselves. And I believe that astrology will allow you to do that.
So, are you feeling inspired to make 2023 the year of your financial transformation? Just head to astrologyhub.com/outlook to start making some wise financial moves right now. Mitch has been helping his clients for over 30 years, so you can rest assured you'll be in good hands. Again, it's astrologyhub.com/outlook, and I hope to see you there.